Welcome. We are going to have a little bit of fun with your brains and help you get more through the decision process. So, my name is Dr. Thomas Trautman. My passion is about the brain and how you drive decisions ethically in people's brains. But before I start, I have a question for you. What do these numbers have in common? 70, 60, 20, 8, 2, and 1. What have these numbers in common? No idea? They are all related to the selling process. 70% is the amount of chances you have to sell to someone who knows you, who likes you. 60% is the part of the market you are working in who doesn't care about what you are selling and will never pay any attention to you. Yeah, it's depressing. 20% is the amount of chances you have to sell to someone who doesn't know you, who doesn't like you, who never heard from you. 8 is the minimum number of contacts, web page visits, email, phone calls, whatever, that have to take place before a sales decision is made. 2% is the size of your market that really needs you now. And if you can drive the right decision now, they are going to buy from you. And 1, well, 1 is the position you have to have in their brains when they make a decision. Because yes, every decision is made by a human brain. The decision process is something human. A company doesn't make a decision. It's humans inside that company that make that decision. The brain is a very, very interesting piece of technology. I was traveling with half of mine, by the way. So that brain, we only know, 90% of the knowledge we have nowadays about the brain is 10 years or younger. So we know how to go to the deeper parts of the ocean. We know how to go on the moon. We plan to go on Mars. We still don't know exactly how that thing is working. Your brain is the biggest in the body mass ratio existing on Earth. It represents 2% of your body mass. And it burns 20% of your daily energy. 30% comes from your stomach, and 20% is burned by your brain. So that's a huge piece of energy burning device. Some people say in some movies, depending on the movies you watch, that this thing runs at 10% of its capabilities only. Nope, especially the decision maker in the brain runs at 90% to 100% of its capabilities. So each time you ask that brain to make a decision, it has to stop some existing processes to make that decision. So why does it want to make that for you? So we are going to see how this is going to be possible. The brain runs into layers. The upper part that you can see here, that's called the neocortex, that's the most human thing that we have. No other animals have such a big neocortex, and that's called the rational brain. That makes you so smart that you have decided to attend IBTM today. On the lower part, you have something here that's called the primal brain. It's called primal because we share it with primates, we share it with reptiles, so it's a very old device. And most of you, I'm pretty sure, are convinced that you make a rational decision and then that you act upon it. Well, it has been scientifically demonstrated without any reasonable doubt, this is not the way it goes. Decisions are all made at the primal brain level, like a primate, like a reptile, and then rationalized. Think about the last thing you bought recently and how it went in your brain. Yeah, I buy a watch, and then you come home and say, that was the best decision I've ever made. Yeah, it's because it's orange and so on. No, that's great. I should have done it before. That's what's happening in your brain. You rationalize it. This process has been mostly discovered and enhanced by a guy called Dr. Kahneman, who got the Nobel Prize in economics in 2011 for his research on that topic. So, pretty reliable guy. But to help you to understand better how this is working, here's what I call the decision driver's iceberg. At the top, you have rationally what you can say, consciously what you can express. It's your desires, your wishes, and your needs. I desire a huge, magnificent pizza right now. Yeah? You too? Okay, so 2 of us. What I wish is to have a nice pizza at the right temperature with the right toppings for less than 10 euros. What I need now is to eat. That's easy, that's conscious. But in fact, the decision driver is hiding under the surface and is called the subconscious frustration. As I'm talking about pizza, let's talk about Domino's Pizza. You all know Domino's Pizza, I guess, right? Domino's Pizza is in the pizza delivery business, right? They decided to expand, and they decided to say, okay, let's understand really what's going to drive the decision of our clients. So they tried to figure out, and they found it, what the subconscious frustration of their client is. Do you know what it is? It's the anxiety of not knowing. It's the anxiety of not knowing when that bloody pizza is going to be in front of the door. So that's how they created the whole concept of the company. It's 30 minutes or it's free. You know now that you have 30 minutes to walk the dog, shower the kids, watch something, work a little bit more. And if you look at their website, everything is done to tell you exactly when that pizza is going to arrive. You see, anxiety of not knowing has nothing to do with a pizza. Nothing. But that's a subconscious frustration. That's how deep it goes. And of course, the last part are the fears. And all this is hidden in the subconscious and at the primal brain level. So you really have to understand that if you are not driving the decision at the subconscious level, if you are not trying to help that brain to get rid of that subconscious frustration, you are going to kill your margin. Because the brain, when it makes a decision, feels a pain. It's a subconscious pain. You're not starting to cry and roll on the ground and so on. No. It's subconsciously feeling a pain, and to make the decision, it needs to compensate that pain with a gain, it has been measured, that's 2.3 times higher than the pain. So if you sell me something for 100 euros, my brain has to get the feeling that it's gaining at least 230 euros. Yeah. And you're going to see it's even worse than that. Because if you don't do that, the primal brain will make the decision, but to get the gain, it will reverse to what's working on the 21st century, money. You want me to make that decision? What can you give me for free? Can you give me a rebate? Or maybe I can stay 1 or 2 more days more for free. I think you all heard that one, right? So that's because you are trying to drive a rational decision where it's a primal decision that's made. So to understand, let's compare those both animals, the primal brain and the rational brain. The primal brain is 500 million years old. It started when some unicellular devices connected together and became the first being. 500 million years old. So, well, it's running for a long time. The rational brain is 10 million years old. So it hasn't the same experience of life. Primal brain is super fast. The rational brain is very slow. It's in fact 200 times slower than the primal brain. That's very important for you. The primal brain lives in an immediate experience. We know that it lives in a 7 seconds window. Okay? It moves 7 seconds and it's living there. So when you want to drive a decision, you have to be in that 7-second window. Because the rational brain lives in the past, in the present, in the future. You know where you were yesterday, you have some ideas about it. You know that you are here today, you have plans for later. I'm going to the party, I'm going to have a good night, blah, blah, blah. So that's very important because if you try to sell something that's going to happen in the future, it cannot make a decision. The primal brain doesn't require any effort, which is pretty cool because it drives all our survival processes, while the rational brain requires concentration. Right now, I can see on your faces that some of you are concentrated. Some others are maybe sleeping, but some of you are concentrated. And if you want to play with your brain, you just do that. You move your eyebrows. It's on, off, because that's a conscious act. Yeah, you look stupid in the plane when you do that, but it's funny. The primal brain runs on automatic, which is pretty cool because it runs a lot of processes. And it's good that you don't have to think, did my heart beat recently or not? Let me think about it. No, you don't want that, okay? You want it to go on. While you can somehow control your thoughts. You know, meditation is about controlling your thoughts and so on. I think it's pretty clear now that the primal brain runs in the subconscious part of the brain, while the rational brain runs in the conscious part of your brain. Now, for everyone who wants to sell something, here are 2 points that are pretty important. 3 points, sorry. The primal brain makes mistakes. We don't make smart decisions. The rational brain is pretty reliable, especially if you have some nice education and so on. It's getting more and more reliable. But it's better, again, the primal brain is a survival tool. It's better to be alive and stupid than be super smart and dead. That's the concept. Okay? The primal brain, when it comes to making a decision, loves existence. It cannot make decisions on things that are not existing. The problem is that as we are very rational human beings, we love novelty. We think that each time we want to grow our market, we have to come on the market with something new. Well, that's just killing the decision process because it cannot understand it. If you relate your new thing to something old, that's working. When it comes to making a decision, the primal brain has a big problem. It hates to make decisions. Choosing among two things is already too complex for it. And what are you doing when you are bringing something on the market, a new website, a new brochure? You are packing it with the most possible choice you get, right? And that's what I call the elevator effect, you know, where and you're watching it, nothing happens. So this is very important for you. But for the choice thing, let me show you something. This is a video where I'm asking a little guy, 2, 3 years old, they are running like a primal brain, to select 2 candies in a box. No, 2. You should pick 2. So, was that clear enough? Do you know how long it took him to make that decision? 16 seconds. And do you think he made a choice? No, he just picked two candies in that box. But now, enough of the others. Let me play with your brains. Are you okay that we run some experiments? I'm not going to hurt you. Okay? They didn't authorize me to go there and open your brain buckets and scoop out. So, first experience. I am going to show a list of words. Okay? Can you see the pointer? Yes. I'm going to show you a list of words. Each word is written in a specific color. I want you to tell me the color of the word I'm going to point with the laser. Okay? So let's go. Say it aloud. Everyone together. Wake up. Black. Come on, faster. I'd like to see a little bit more energy. Okay? It's 11, shouldn't be starving now. Come on. We will do it again. Speak aloud, and we are going faster, okay? Because you are a very bright audience, so I make it a bit more complex. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Come on. Stop, stop, stop. Do you know what just happened? Your primal brain comes and says, where's the laser pointer? Yeah, comes and says, green. But the rational brain, 2,000 times later, comes and says, whoa, 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 stop, that's brown. And here you invent ground, and so on and so forth. Okay? So you've seen how you two brains are working together. Ready for a new experiment? Okay, tell me, is square A darker or lighter than square B? Who sees A darker? Yeah, everyone. I'm now drawing a rectangle that's exactly the same color as A. They both have the same color. Yeah, yeah. Oh! And I'm going to show it with a video, and it's even worse. So that's an experiment that has been developed at the MIT Cognitive Science Lab. You will see a young lady, she will just move a sheet of paper. There is no trick here. Yeah, it's concerning, isn't it? In fact, no one told you that this is a checkered surface. Your brain assumes it. And then, because of the shadow and so on, your brain assumes it's darker or lighter. And then it plays a trick with you, and you are completely confused. So that's how the primal brain works. It makes mistakes, and it plays with you all the time. You know, by the way, right now, if I compare your brain to a computer, how many bits of information are you receiving per second right now? 10 million. Do you know how much your primal brain can handle? 50. So it has to filter out a huge amount of information and get rid of it. So enough of all this fun. Yes, third experiment, okay? And then we move on. Tell me, what's better for you? 100% chances to win 900 euros or 90% chances to win 1,000? Who is for the first one? Yeah, most people select the first one. Again, 100% chance to lose 900 euros and 90% chance to lose 1,000 euros. Which one do you select? First one or second one? Second one. Well, statistically, they are the same, guys. So what you just experienced is a cognitive bias. There are nowadays more than 180 cognitive biases that has been identified, and this is due to the brain evolution. The one you just experienced is called the loss aversion. The primal brain prefers to make the decision to have something now, even if it's shitty, than have something great in the future, because it doesn't know what the future is about. This is coming from our evolution. I told you the primal brain is 500 million years old, the rational brain 10 million, and we stopped, in fact, evolving. Biologically, the whole beast stopped evolving 20 to 40,000 years ago. The brain stopped evolving between 100 and 50,000 years ago. So our brain stopped evolving before our body stopped evolving, which means that we are still running, especially the primal brain, the same processes as our ancestors living in caves. And that drives many, many crazy decisions, problem with conversation, when you talk with someone, etc., etc. All what I'm telling you is not coming out from my head, me having a nice drink and, woo, I have an idea. No, there are plenty of good books. Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely is great. Descartes' Error, we're going to talk about it. Thinking Fast and Slow, that's the book about Daniel Kahneman's work. Pretty dense, but very interesting. And of course, I suggest that you read Get More. The guy who wrote it is a very good guy. It's me. We're going to see why I do that. So, when you're driving a decision, do you think that the decision you are driving has something to do with you? Yes? No? Not at all. That primal brain couldn't care less about you. And to be very blunt, it doesn't give a shit. In English. Auf Hochdeutsch. Come on. The primal brain is focusing on one and only one person in this world, itself. Even in the 21st century, when you wake up in the morning, you wake up to find food for yourself. If you have children, maybe later. But you are focusing on yourself. So when you are talking to someone and you want a decision, you have to use the you language. So I invite you to try during the next 2 days when you meet someone to start every sentence with you. And don't talk about yourself, your product, your services. But that's a challenge, I can tell you. So let me show you what that means.
Imagine me and you and me. No matter how they toss the dice, it had to be. The only one for me is you, and you for me. So happy together. I can't see me loving nobody.
You get the self-centeredness? Okay? Even the most empathic person is not empathic. It's self-centeredness that helps remove a subconscious frustration. We have many subconscious frustrations. So you understand it's all about them. I took a website randomly, their homepage. I'm going to circle in red each time they talk about themselves, and in green when they talk about you. So let's see. Red, 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 red. So how much? Oh, yes, yes. There is a you and a you here. So when they want to drive my decision, I'm not going to make any decision because they don't care about me. Okay? Here's another example. Of course, that's the guy who is teaching you that who made that page. So in green, each time I talk about someone else. Okay? And as I'm a self-centered beast, there is my name on the cover of the book, of course. Now that we know that everything is in part of the subconscious in the primal brain, you have on the brain that huge part in the primal brain here. That thing is called the limbic system. The limbic system, as you can see, is right in between the two here. And it's big. The limbic system is driving emotions. Emotions are an extremely complex research area, but what's very important is that you have to understand, it has been demonstrated by a guy called Antonio Damasio in his book Descartes' Error in 1994. There is no decision without emotions. In fact, you can summarize the whole book with one sentence. We are not thinking machines that feel, rather, we are feeling machines that think. You have, it's not about one emotion. Making them happy, that's your job, right? Making them happy is not enough. One emotion is not enough. You want to drive a decision, you have to initiate an emotional variation. You have to take them from one emotional state to the next one. Well, the good news is you already know how to take them down. You know their subconscious frustration. So show them their subconscious frustration. Hurt them. I love my job. It's about hurting people. And they pay me for that. Cool. So you have to hurt them, and then you show them how their life is going to be thanks to you. They will be happy. So you have that emotional variation. And of course, you can do that only in a few seconds. So you better be good at that. The good thing is that the subconscious brain, the primal brain, even though it cannot talk, it cannot express what it feels, it communicates through physiological signals. The body is used for the primal brain to communicate with the rest of the world. So we can use neuroscientific methodologies to analyze what that brain is saying. For example, layered voice analysis. We compare what they say and how they say it. If I say, I'm very happy to be here, if you write it down, Thomas was super happy to be there, you know? When my voice says exactly the contrary. Just for info, I am very happy to be here, okay? So that's one thing that we can use. We can also use visual impact maps. Nowadays, we have enough knowledge on how media impacts the brain and the decision maker in the brain that we can simulate with mathematical systems how it perceives a media, an image, a video, and so on. So this is an example. This website, I want the people to see the face of the woman, the arrow, and buy the book. And that's what happens. This has been designed so that it impacts the brain in the right way. Physiological signal, facial analysis, that's a cool one. We all have micro-expressions. Those are expressions that your face is showing in a microsecond. The king of the science is called Paul Ekman, and he dedicated his whole life to analyzing micro-expressions. And he demonstrated, in fact, that wherever you live in the world, whatever your culture, your religion, your skin color, your age, we all have the same basic 7 micro-expressions. Women are especially good at analyzing that. That's called the sixth sense, right? So when you go to the airport, don't show anger and don't show contempt, because the security guys are trained to identify those micro-expressions. Yes, smile. Then you have way more complex devices like those glasses who have an EEG, an electroencephalogram, that measures the emotional state of the brain, the engagement of the brain, and the motivation of the brain, while at the same time looking at the eyes, how the eyes are reacting and what the eyes are looking at. So that gives the door to a lot of data that you can analyze. Is it clear now that everything is about the subconscious frustration? Yes? Did you get that? Because once you get that, once you get to their subconscious frustration and show them their subconscious frustration, you are going to drive the decisions you want, while they get the feeling they make the decision they need. And now, how do we share that? So let me run a little experiment again with you. This time I'm going to ask you to trust me. I'd like you all to close your eyes. Please close your eyes. See in front of you a lemon and a knife. With one hand, you grab the lemon. With the other hand, you grab the knife. Do it. With your eyes closed, pick up your lemon, pick up your knife. Slice the lemon in two. Put the knife down. Now get that lemon close to your nose and smell the lemon. Now that you have smelled the lemon, bite that lemon and let the lemon juice flow in your mouth. Okay, so question. Is your mouth watering right now? You can open your eyes. Is your mouth watering? Yes? Did you just bite in a lemon? What's wrong? In fact, what's wrong is that with a little story, I just hijacked your brain. That's the power of stories. I hijacked your brain, I had your primal brain do what I want. The story, that's the first thing that's very important in your story, that you can hijack the brain. The second very important thing is that when you tell a story, you show trust. Because you never tell a story to someone you dislike. When you come in the office on Monday morning, you're not going to the guy you hate and say, wow, I had a super cool event in the weekend. No, you go to the people you like. And trust is driven in the brain by something called oxytocin. That's a guy called Paul Zak, who found that at the neuroeconomics, psychology, blah, 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 something. So stories are very important. You can drive that brain where you want. And another thing very important for the primal brain is that the story allows it to create a metaphor and to store information, to memorize things. So if you tell the right story, they are going to love you. And you can do that just with an image, because we were seeing before we were hearing. I mean, look at the size of the visual cortex. The visual cortex is, and that's very funny with the human brain, everything is inverted. The eyes are in the front, the visual cortex is at the back. But look at the size of that thing. And look at the little auditory cortex there. Visual is our primal communication device. And by the way, the brain analyzes the visual signals 40 times faster than the auditory signals. So be visual. Let me show an example of how you can tell a story. Frustration, okay, huge frustration. Up there, solution, that's a pain, that's cool. Do they talk about the features or something like that? No, they don't, okay? And that's a very well-known brand, so they don't need to do that. But what you need is to really impact the brain of each person that you are seeing, because decision-making is, again, a human process. So you have to make a good first impression, yourself or your brand. At your own level, do you know how long it takes to a brain that has never seen you to decide that it's going to like you or dislike you? Any idea? It takes exactly 0.3 seconds. In 0.3 seconds, it's going to hate you, even though you're the nicest person in the world. It just deconstructs who you are, reconstructs and say, okay, I hate you, I like you. Boom. Yes, sorry. That's what my brain says. No. Okay, so, and to do that, at the subconscious level again, you have to know who you are and who your brand is. Who you are is pretty complex. I mean, if you ask me, who are you? I could say I'm Thomas, but there are plenty of Thomases on Earth, so that's not me. Okay, you are Thomas, I'm Thomas Trautman. No, Trautman is the family name. It was inherited from my family. Okay, I'm Dr. Thomas Trautman. Well, there are at least 9,000 guys who get a PhD in France every year, so that's not unique. So personally, it took me 50 years to know who I am. I am the happy tribes builder. That's who I am. So try to find who you are and who your brand is, because that's how, at the subconscious level, the brains are going to resonate. And once you have that, you have to understand why you do things. Why are you doing what you are doing? Why is your brand doing what it is doing? Why? Because the human being needs to understand why. Then you can tell them about how you do it, and then at the end, what you are doing. Which means that it has been demonstrated by Simon Sinek, who wrote the book Start With Why. That's called the Golden Circle. And he demonstrated that every company and successful person started with a why before getting to a what. And the ones who started with a what, crashed in flames. So when you can do that, you can start to tell a very nice story. And with that story, people are going to relate to you, to resonate with you, and to want more from you. And you're going to hit the 2% who need you now, who are ready now to give you their money, just to work with you. And by creating that tribe, you are creating something that at the human level is one of the most important societal structures. We humans are living in tribes. Our family is a tribe. Our soccer club is a tribe. The church is a tribe. Our colleagues in the office are a tribe. Tribes are super powerful. Harley Davidson, you all know that brand, right? How many of you have clients with your logo tattooed on their skin forever? Raise your hand. No one. Harley Davidson manages to get that. They tattoo their brand on their skin. And do you know what the effect is of such a strong tribe? In Europe, when someone buys a Harley Davidson, which is already a pretty expensive piece of bike, the average spend to buy accessories that make you belong to the tribe, T-shirts, caps, leashes for the dog, whatever, 9,000 euros. 9,000 euros above the price of the bike just to be part of that tribe. You see the power of that thing? Apple, when they come out with the iPad, you know, the white headphones, you were belonging to the tribe of the cool guys. Why they did that? Because they were cool. And look at, everyone copied it. And they did a what? It's working. What are we going to do? The same thing. No? But then it's just white. It doesn't have the same impact. And of course, nowadays, we have the Football World Cup, so those are the craziest tribes that you can find, they're ready to kill each other. So just the power of the tribe. Think about native Indians. Apaches and Apaches were doing business together. Comanches and Comanches were doing business together. Apaches and Comanches were killing each other. They were not doing business. Okay? So, an example of a tribe.
Extrême 3 de Wilkinson. 3 lames flexibles qui s'adaptent de façon unique à tous les contours pour un confort optimal sous tous les angles. Extrême 3.
So I guess you know why I like that
Numéro 1 des
tribe.
packs jetables en France.
But
Par
it
Wilkinson.
may be funny. Look at how people hire other people. Look at how, even your company, how people are looking in your company. Those are tribes. It's very important. So now you have it. You have learned the ethical persuasion formula. You maximize ethical persuasion when you maximize the subconscious frustration knowledge, the who you are, the why, and the tribe. So if you want to dig deeper, I'm giving to the attendees of the IBTM 3 books for free. So just leave me your business card or contact me or grab me when I'm walking around. And I think now is the time for you to tell me what you think or if you have questions. If you are still alive, of course. If your brains are still alive. Questions? Yes, the lady there.
So thank you for that, first of all. But when it comes to addressing their subconscious frustrations, are you trying to assume what they are, or is there a way to get them to express what their frustrations are to you and then mimic it back to them?
First of all, you cannot assume. If you assume, you're in the marketing. Okay? I'm saying that I'm coming from marketing, where we love to assume what other people think, you know? No, you cannot assume. Or you can try to really, really go deep as much as you can in the knowledge of your client. You know, that's what they teach you in marketing, is you create, they call that the avatar, you know? How that person is looking, how big that person is, what job, how old they are, blah, blah, blah. But you still have to dig deeper and deeper. So usually you use neuroscientific methods or you call someone like me to help you to get there because, yeah, because from the experience, there is a way to understand how that works. Because most of the time you're going to assume compared to your product and your service. Or in fact, that's not what you should do. You should really think about the human being in front of you and how that person is going, what that person needs to be helped by you to get somewhere else, emotionally speaking. So it's not easy. Would it be? I wouldn't be here. Some other question?
Yes, thank you for the inspiring sharing of your insights. I wonder whether there's any ethical boundaries in hijacking each other's brains. I mean, it's probably fine to sell products, but when it comes to ideology, for instance.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I mean, you know, if you have kids, you watch Marvel, and for Spider-Man, with a great power comes a great responsibility. It's like everything. But when you do it that way, when you really pay attention to the subconscious frustration, the only way you have to drive that decision is by helping them remove that subconscious frustration. That's why I call it ethical persuasion. You can do influence, you can do manipulation. I mean, I can give you many examples of how. There is a book written by Robert Cialdini, which is, how is it called? I think it's Influence, something like that, the 6 ways to influence. You can see that on any website, you know. There is only 2 left. That's called urgency. That's one of the influence drivers, urgency or rarity, stuff like that. So you can use that. After a while, the brain knows it. You may screw them once, but then it's done. If you want them to come back and to buy more from you, you better do it the right way. Does it reply? Good. Some other questions? Well, yeah.
Hi, thanks very much. I was just wondering, in terms, obviously, we're working in events where things are done quite far in the future. How are you you spoke about immediacy of things and making something right now. I'm wondering if you have any advice about events that might be happening even 2-3 years away. Is there maybe a connection there?
Even though the event happens in 2-3 years, you wanted to make the decision now. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's about them showing right now that they're the coolest guy because they are going to that event. You see? Well, just out of the top of my head. But you can drive that decision. And by the way, the human brain makes a decision in 11 seconds. It may take 2 years to rationalize it, but it takes 11 seconds to make the decision. Anyone else? Okay. Then let's wrap it up. Thank you very much.